Hi there, and welcome to my very first ever, oh, I don't like what the camera is, there we go, my first ever product Smackdown. So I'm gonna, basically as I run out of something, I'm not gonna buy the same thing, and I'm gonna buy something in a similar price range and see which one works better. And first installment is gonna be the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circles Treatment Concealer. Looks like this. I mentioned it in my drugstore favorites. This is probably my third or fourth one. Been using it for a couple years. Love it. But I wanted to try the Maybelline by the same company, the Fit Me concealer, which is in this packaging, is a lot less busy, a lot sleeker, and kind of is a copy of the NARS creamy concealers. But I think I got this for $6, and this I can normally get for $6 or $8 Canadian. So as you can see, I'm almost out of this, so it was time to meet a new friend, maybe. So I'm going to put one on one eye, one on the other. We'll see how it blends out and how it looks with my other makeup over top of it. And I even specifically did an eye look today that I know makes my dark circles look really blue and awful. I don't really have bags per se, but I have very bad discoloration underneath my eyes. There's no eye cream in the world that is gonna fix that. Dark circles underneath your eyes are either genetic or environmental. Don't let people sell you crap that they say will fix your under eye circles. The only thing you can do is cover it up and pray to the makeup gods that it lasts for the day. It's just something I have to deal with. No matter what I do, they still show up. I can't completely cover them without looking like a cake face. Being said that means I'm a little bit of a concealer hoarder, junkie, obsessor. Love them. Okay, so this is the packaging for the Instant Age Rewind. It has this cap that I'm throwing around, which is awful. Do not lose this little cap, and you just crank it up like that, and the product comes through the sponge, and you just take the sponge and you dab it underneath your eye like that. I'm gonna go all the way up there. That's how far my dark circles go. So as you can see, it has pretty good coverage. This one's a little bit of a yellow tone color. And I do like to bring my under eye concealer in a triangle motion. And then I'm just gonna take a damp beauty blender and pat that in. So that's coverage number one. As you can see, it looks a lot more even, but you can still see quite a bit of my blue tones. It does settle in. I have these kind of like big crease right there. Maybe I'll zoom in a bit. It's better. So you can kind of see, you can definitely see the difference, especially when the camera starts to work. But it does settle in a little bit to that fine line, which is why I set it with powder. Okay, so now the Maybelline is just this black tube there. Just with the name there. And oh, sorry, I have the Instant Age Rewind in light, and I bought this one in fair, and I probably should have gotten this one in fair, to be fair. And it has a sponge tip applicator, just with a doe foot, and I'm just gonna dot it like that. And then, so the one nice thing about this sponge is you can kind of spread it around a little bit better. Where this one, I'm gonna take my finger first, and this is a lot more liquidy in consistency, and apparently a little bit goes a long way. So this one is a lot more brightening, I would say, and I think it has better coverage, and it's not settling in. I don't know if you can see how that's really settling into that little line right there. This one, I have the same line on this eye, and I don't think it's settling quite as bad. Okay, so now that this side has time to set, let's see if it's buildable. Just using my finger. So it is buildable, but it looks a little bit cakey there. This side has had time to set. I'm just gonna put two, I think you need less of this just because it's liquidier. This one you definitely need a beauty blender or a brush to spread it out, whereas this one I feel like the sponge does it. So that's a bonus for that. Okay, so there's that. Looking in the mirror, this one looks cakier than this one. I like the finish of the Fit Me concealer better. Let's back her up. And we are gonna set, I haven't set my makeup or anything, so I wanted to do that. So I'm just using my mineralized skin finish in medium. And I'm gonna take a tiny amount of translucent powder, which I forgot to pull out. And I'm gonna take a bit, yeah, there it is. A tiny amount of translucent powder. This is the IT Cosmetics Bye Pores and my e.l.f. blush brush to set underneath my eyes. I cannot wear concealer without setting it with a powder. It just is a giant crease fest. I feel like more powder clung to this side than this side. I definitely feel like this side has settled into my eye, my lines a little bit more, the Instant Age Rewind. And the Instant Age Rewind definitely feels heavier, but I like the applicator better. I'm just gonna bronze a little bit. I'm just going over to my friend's house tonight for dinner, so I didn't do a very fancy makeup look. Her 1-year-old baby doesn't care if Auntie Kim's wearing a winged liner. And then for blush, I'm gonna use my Milani Luminoso, which is just such a pretty peachy blush. I'm literally just waiting a few minutes to see how this settles the makeup on top and how it looks with makeup blended over top of it, which is why I'm bothering to finish my makeup. And then for highlighter, which I can't wait to do a smackdown on this because I'm so bored of this product, but maybe I'm just using my Luxie brush to add some glow to my cheeks because it's summery outside and I'm just obsessed with glow right now. And then for lips, I'm gonna use this Rimmel, it's from the Kate Moss collection, and this one is in 08. It's the Lasting Finish by Kate lipstick. It's a really pretty mauve-y rose. But it smells really sweet, and you can actually smell it when it's on your lips, which I don't like. And then I'm using the apparently today is a Maybelline day. I'm using the Maybelline the Elixir in Nude, which is 06, is a lip gloss over top. So seeing how that's settled so far and how it looks, I'm actually gonna be surprising myself to say this, but so far I'm liking how the Fit Me looks better. I think it looks less cakey and more natural. I think the eraser has more coverage, but it's definitely settling into my line there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go lift my left, do my stuff, and then, oh, I got lipstick on my chin, oops. And then I'm gonna come back before I wash my makeup off at the end of the day. I'm gonna try not to touch my under eyes at all and show you what they both look like. So I will be back later this evening. Hello, so I'm back. I've been wearing these under eye concealers for, what time is it? 9:30, so about 8 hours or so. Went to my friend's house for dinner. I asked her, I asked my husband, although getting him to tell me which eye looked better was like pulling teeth. And then he eventually just started poking me in the face. One thing that's not helping is my actual eye makeup did not hold up, but I'm definitely, especially looking in the camera, the Instant Age Rewind side looks better than the Maybelline Fit Me. Not by a lot, it just looks a little bit less blue, a little bit less tired. So in the Smackdown, we have a winner, and it is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Eraser Dark Circle treatment. I also like this applicator. I just find it's easier to use than the sponge tip of this. And people were concerned about the sponginess of this hygiene-wise, but I don't see it being any different than the one that you're sticking back in the product. At least you're not sticking this back into the product. It gets most of the product out of there. If you look, there's barely anything in there. I don't hate this one. I do think it's a good drugstore option. It's definitely faded in here, and it just didn't cover up the blueness underneath my eyes. No, it does look smoother. This eye definitely looks smoother than this eye. There's more texture with this product. So we have our winner, and that is basically the end of my very first ever Smackdown video. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm excited to do lots more Smackdown videos because I think it's nice to see two things side by side to help you decide on your purchases. Again, disclaimer, what works for me might not work for you, and works for you might not work for me, or they might work for everyone. You never know. So that is it. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, evening, whenever you're watching this. Bye.